Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on CapnclydesMTG. It is preview season for Aetherdrift, so we're going to get into it, but don't forget to check out the links in the description to support the channel: eBay, TCG Player, YouTube membership, Patreon, yada yada yakety smackety, watch on Twitch, so forth and so on. So, let's get into the juiciness, as we've had a good 50 cards or so spoiled already, so let's look at them. We had an early spoiled card, the Lifecraft engine. I wasn't going to show you guys one card. That was kind of eh. 3 colorless for a 4/4 rare. It is a vehicle. When it enters, you get to choose creature type. Vehicle creatures you control are the chosen creature type in addition to other types. So, kind of a weird thing. It makes all your vehicles the same creature. Each creature you control of the chosen type other than this vehicle gets +1/+1. That's pretty amazing. Pretty much a vehicle lord, if you will. That's just so weird. I mean, it's basically a vehicle lord. It's even 3 mana like most lords are for the kind of, sort of. Anyway, so moving on. Next, we got some juicy ones. We got some land cycles going on. We have Murgandi Raceway, a rare. It has start your engines. Now, so you know, start your engines is a new mechanic that, when it comes into play, if you have no speed counters, it starts at 1. It increases every time your opponent has lost life. Now, it only goes up once each turn if they lose life. If they don't lose life, it doesn't go up. 4 is the max, so that's what you want to get to. This is basically just a colorless land, but if you get 2 max with 4, it becomes a soul land. So very interesting. We have the Amonkhet Raceway. It also has start your engines, taps for a colorless. At max speed, target creature gains haste in their turn. Not terrible. I would say it'd be good for a red deck, but that whole colorless mana thing is kind of sucky. We have the Night Market land. This land enters tapped. As it enters, you choose a color. Add 1 mana of any chosen color. Cycles for 3. That's fine for limited. Avishkar Raceway has start your engines. Taps for a colorless. At max speed for 3 and tap, you can discard a card and draw a card. Again, very good limited card. It'll be very interesting to see how this soul land goes. And how start your engines go as well as a mechanic. Moving forward, we also have the Glide Light Pathmaker, blue, white, and 4 for a 6/5 Vigi. Whenever the vehicle enters, you may search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, and then put it onto the battlefield. It's got to be 2 or less mana, so don't get too happy. Otherwise, it just goes to your hand. This does crew for 2. I mean, this is fine. It is what it is. We finally get to see the Aether Spark right here. It is a 4 colorless legendary artifact planeswalker equipment. So, quick story mode. Apparently, this is someone's planeswalker spark, and because of that, if you equip it, you basically become a planeswalker. So, what it does, for 4 mana, it comes with 4 loyalty. As long as the spark is attached to a creature, the spark can't be attacked, and has, when equipped creature does combat damage during your turn, put that many loyalty counters on the spark. This is going to be so busted with things with like trample and death touch and like other weird stuff, because it comes in at 4, and literally -5 it gives you the draw 2 cards. Not the best in the world, but to attach it, all you got to do is +1. You attach it up to 1 target creature you control and put a +1/+1 counter on it. It's also a way to pump your creatures because the counters don't go away. You get 10 mana by taking 10 counters off of it. It's not busted by any stretch of the imagination, but it is very, very good. Yes, it is. So then we have Mendicant Core Guidelight. Blue-white. I'm getting such a Fortnite theme out of this. Anyway, blue-white for a star 3. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. That's going to be huge. There's nothing but artifacts in this set. It has start your engines at max speed. When you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 1 colorless. If you do, copy it. That's going to get ugly quick. This is going right here into every commander deck that plays any form of artifacts and has white-blue, obviously. If you don't have one of these and you have a white-blue deck, you should pick one up before people figure out how good this is, because it's going to be good. I mean, this might just be good enough if there's enough artifacts for standard. I mean, and at blue-white, I mean, this could make a modern Pioneer appearance in like a Time Civ Thopter style deck. It's just absurd. All right, next we have something I cannot pronounce and will not even try to butcher, but it is the verbose host. It's the host with the most. Verbose. Anyway, you can figure that consonants out later. It is homunculus, so probably akin to Fibblethip. I thought it was Fibblethip when I first looked at it. I had to stare at it a lot. Blue and 1 for an 0-4. It has start your engines. You have no max hand size. When you get to 4, you now, whenever you draw a card, you draw 2. Every time. This. Commander guys, excuse me a second. Wipe my salivation off from my blue deck. This will be in every blue deck. This is insanely good because starting your engines, it says when your opponent loses life, that is from damage or any other effect. You don't have to get across with creatures. You can bolt them, trigger an ability. It causes the opponent to lose a life. You gain a life. That will still trigger this. This is a good card. Good stuff. So moving on, we have the Apocalypse Runner, nothing like a death race. Black, red, and 2 for a 6/5. You tap it, target creature control power 2 or less, gains life leak till the end of turn, and can't be blocked. It cruise for 3. Not bad for limited. Loot's here with the little goggles, little fella. This guy is a teamer and 2, so red, blue, green, and 2, 5 mana, 2/4. But it does have double strike, vigilance, and haste, which is basically means it's a 4/4. With all those keywords. Plus, since it has haste, you can use exhaust. So how exhaust works, you can use exhaust only once ever, but you can use every exhaust ability once. So this one for the green, you get to add 3 mana of any chosen color. Now, mind you, it has vigilance, so you can punch him in the face first. You can also, for 1 blue, draw 3 cards. Holy cow, is that good. Especially after you punch him in the face first. And then for 1 red, you can also bolt them after you punch him in the face first. Or swing first and then bolt the creature out of the way so you can punch them in the face. But anyway, so this card basically has, it basically is a 1-time Lotus, a 1-time Ancestral, and a 1-time Lightning Bolt. Interesting choices, especially why green gives you 3 mana. I'm not real sure. But anyway, still really cool. This is going to be a so much of a popular commander. I mean, I want to make a deck with him just looking at him. Finally, old boy Luke got done right. They butchered that poor guy. Anyway, we have The Last Ride. This is it. The 1 black 13/13 vehicle. It gets -X/-X, where X is your life total. For a black and 2, you can pay 2 life and draw a card. Then that way you can, crew this and not let it die. And it does only crew for 2. Very cool. But to be fair, I would say this is something that would go into like a Death Shadow deck, but it's just not better than like other cards. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. I mean, there's always possibilities, right? If it just had Trample or something. Anyway, we have Winter, the Cursed Rider. That's right, from Duskmourn. He is back. Blue and black for a 3/2. Already nice. He has Ward, pay 2 life. Even better. Artifacts you control have Ward, pay 2 life. All right, now he's the man. And he has Exhaust. So 1 time for a blue, black, and 2, you can tap, exile X artifact cards from your graveyard. Each other non-artifact creature gets -X/-X, so he doesn't, and your other artifact creatures don't. So a 2 mana 3/2 that is hard to kill, makes your artifacts hard to kill, and has the ability to perma-wrath. This guy is going to be good. And not to mention, he goes right in the Dimir deck in Standard, so yeah. Yeah, pick him up while you can. So moving on, we have the Boommobile. That's funny. 2 red and 2 for a 5/5. Whenever it enters, you get to add 4 mana of any color, spend it only to activate abilities. It has Exhaust, which is a red 2 and X. This vehicle deals X damage to any target. Put a +1/+1 counter on the vehicle. So basically, for 4 mana, you can do 1 damage to something and make a 6/6 that cruise for 2. That's the gist of it if nothing else is going on. Now, if you got extra mana, boy, look out. You can start bolting things and make this a 6/6. Yeah, it gets ugly quick. This is going to be popular. We have Redshift Rocketeer Chief, red-green for a 2/3 with Vigilance, already good. And you tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is this card's power. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. No one cares. It does have Exhaust, 10 colorless, and a green-red. Put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So, just so you know, its power is 2, so the cost of this is really just 10 mana. And we all know a couple giant growths away from this happening very, very, very quickly. This is going to be a Commander Fun card. And to be fair, a 2/3 for 2 mana in Standard that taps for 2 mana and has Vigilance and can activate abilities just seems like a good card. But anyway, because when it says mana abilities, that's land abilities, creature abilities. There's tons of things to spend that on. Rocketeer Boost Buggy. Green, red for a 3/2. When the vehicle attacks, you create a treasure token. Seems a little bit like a Ragavan. Anyway, Exhaust for 3. The vehicle becomes an artifact creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. It does crew for 1. So for 3 mana, you get a free swing with it. And it also becomes a 4/3. And it only crews for 1, so those little goblinoids can slap in that bad boy and rock house. This is going to be a very popular uncommon in Standard. Might see a little play outside of that, just because, making treasure tokens with this, plus it's a 2 mana 3/2. It's got some legs or wheels. Anyway, Far Fortune End Boss. That's a terrible. Who named this damn card? Anyway. Red, black, and 2 for a 4/5. Not bad. Has Start Your Engines. Whenever you attack, it deals 1 damage to each opponent at max speed. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much +1 instead. So, if this thing can swing, it doesn't matter if it gets blocked. It's still going to deal 1 damage to the opponent, i.e. max speed will go up. And then it's going to start shocking things left and right. Seems really good. Going to be a limited all-star by far. I just don't know if this is going to be good enough for Standard. 4/5 for 4 seems good enough, but some of these other cards we're looking at, like 4 mana 5/5s and 6/6s. Jesus Christ. It's going to be a rough one. We'll see if you see some play. Plus Shieldred's still in, so probably not. Anyway, we have Zulthur Glory's Past, black-white for a 3/2. We got a lot of black-white, a lot of 2 mana 3/2s. Anyway. Has Start Your Engine. Sacrifice another creature. Surveil 1. Activate only once each turn. God, I like that. At max speed, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Hello, Aristocrats. This is what the world's been asking for. This is going to go straight into the Aristocrat combo. Sack a creature. Opponent loses a life. Gets max speed. Make a 2/2. Every 1 creature equals 2. The creatures that make tokens when they die actually make 3. This is going to be huge in those style of decks. So expect this card to easily hold a $2 to $3 price tag. Hell, maybe more than that, depending how popular it gets. We have the Bulwark Ox, white 1 for a 2/2. When this creature attacks while saddled, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Sacrifice this creature. Creatures you control with counters on them gain hexproof and indestructible. Saddles for 1. This is going to be good, probably in a white weenie deck, but I just don't think it's see as much play as people think. Next, we have Caradora, Heart of Alcria. God, I'm with these names, I'm telling you. White, green, and 2 for a 4/2. When it enters, search your library for a mount or vehicle, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature or vehicle you control, put that many +1 +1/+1 counters on it instead. It's probably going to be a limited all-star at best. It's only a 4/2. And, for another mana, you get doubling season. Anyway, it could be good in Standard. Logrin, Soul of Alderfasar, these seem very similar. This one's just a green-white for a 1/1 flying. Whenever it attacks while saddled, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target mounts or vehicles. Saddle for 1. This thing's nuts. You saddle this and swing, it becomes a 2/2, then a 3/3. And if you got something else laying around you want to beef up, have at it. This is going to be a limited and probably standard all-star. It just seems too good. I say that if I won't see play. Anyway, we have Rangers Aetherhive, blue, green, and 1 for a 3/5. Jesus. Has Vigilance. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Cruise for 1. I mean, this could be busted. I mean, once you start activating abilities, you start making stuff to crew this. This doesn't fly, though, so, I mean, probably limited. We have a Toxic Emerald Radiant. Good God, these names. Anyway, it's an insect druid. Go with it. Green, 2 black, and 3. So 6 mana, 3/3. When it enters, you get to make a 1/1 green insect creature token for each artifact or creature card in your graveyard. That could be really good. Whenever another insect you control dies, put +1/+1 counter on this card, and each opponent loses 1 life. That's pretty. Possibilities. We have the Thunderous Velocipede. God, what a name. That just sounds horrifying. 2 green and 1 for a 5/5 with trample. Thank God it's a vehicle. Each other vehicle and creature you control enters with additional +1/+1 counter on it if its mana's 4 or less. Otherwise, it enters with 3 additional +1/+1 counters on it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so all the 4 mana stuff you're making is now just monstrosity huge. And this thing crews for 3. And I'm going to tell you, can you crew it? You lay something for 5 mana, you're crewing the damn thing. Matter of fact, you lay something for less than 4, you're going to crew this too because it's going to have 2 power probably. It's going to be a 3 by the time this is over with. This thing is going to be very popular. We have Bossery, tomorrow's champion. He's back. 1 white, 2/1. He is the epitome of white weenie. He has Exert. Haven't seen that in a while. A white and tap. You get to exert him, create a 1/1 white cat creature token with lifelink. An exerted creature doesn't untap during the untap step. Interesting. You can cycle him for a white and 2. Can come in handy since he is a legendary creature. When you cycle this card, cats you control gain hexproof and indestructible at the end of turn. Didn't know Bossery was a kitty kind of guy. Knew I liked him. Anyway, next we have the wonderful Chandra Spark Hunter. Everybody talked about how this art was not the real art. Well, guess what? It is, and a lot of us ain't happy about it. Anyway, I mean, it's fine, but anyway. Red and 3 for 4 loyalty. Okay. At the beginning of combat in your turn, choose up to 1 target vehicle you control. Until the end of turn, it becomes an artifact creature and gains haste. That is the most busted static ability there is. 4 mana. Put this in play. Shit's huge. I've got these big, nappy artifacts I've put into play that are vehicles that have big power and toughness that need to be crewed, and she's going to do it for free. She's going to be something. For +2, you may sacrifice an artifact or discard a card if you do draw a card. That's a good ability, especially for +2. For 0, make a 3/2 colorless vehicle artifact creature token that crews 1. I mean, helps you draw. You can sacrifice it to itself once you're done. You get an emblem for -7. Whenever an artifact you control enters, it deals 3 damage to any target. This thing is busted. This is going to see tons of standard play. Holy shit. This may see play in Pioneer and maybe even Modern, depending on what kind of shenanigans are going around. Holy cow, this thing is good. Anyway. Captain Howler, Sea Scourge, red, blue, and 2. I love this picture. Who drew this? I can't read the name. Kudos to you if you watch my channel, which you probably don't, but I wish you did. Anyway, legendary creature Shark Pirate. Shark Pirate. Oh boy. Anyway, 5/4 for 4. Now we're talking. Ward, 2 colorless, and pay 2 life. Holy shit, is this thing hard to kill. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, target creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn for each card discarded this way. Holy shit. This thing's gonna get big quick. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, draw a card. They just unbanned Faithless Looting. I think this is why. Like, they want this abused. I want to abuse this. Anyway, this thing is going to be huge with cycling cards. If you're making a commander deck, this is my pick for a new commander. If you play blue-red and want to make a deck with cycling and drawing and yada yada yakety schmackety, like this guy here, him. So we have the boosted sloop. Well, at least I can pronounce it. Red, blue, and 1 for a 3/3 with menace. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard. Oh, they fixed Thopter. Or, I'm sorry. They fixed a helicopter that was 2 mana. Cruise for 1. Yeah. Okay. We have Sita Varma, Masked Racer. What the hell? That's some new guy, I guess. Blue-green for a 2/3. It has exhaust. Blue and 2 green and X. Put X +1/+1 counters on this card. Then you may have the base power and toughness of each other creature you control become equal to this card's power. So if you exhaust it, and you at least put 1 into it, for 4 mana, everything is +3/+3. That's not a bad deal. The problem comes in is where none of your stuff is going to have trample. But hey, you can't have it all in standard, right? And in limited, this will just win games. Because people are going to make lots of Thopters and whatnot, and then this thing's going to come down and the shit's going to get real. So, yeah. Alright, we have the Gearhulk. Here we go. The Gearhulk stuff. Pyrowood Gearhulk, 2 green, 2 red, and 2 6-mana 7/7 with Vigilance and Menace. Jesus. When this creature enters, other creatures you control get +2/+2, gain Vigilance and Menace until end of turn. Damage can't be prevented. Oh, okay, it's kind of a fixed Crater Hoof. Not really, but mostly yes. God, this is good. Everything has Vigilance and Menace? Jesus Christ. It might be better than Crater Hoof. I mean, okay, it's not better than Crater Hoof, but I mean, for standard, this is Crater Hoof. Anyway, we have the Oil Deep Gearhulk. That name just is just the name just sounds dirty. Oil Deep. Anyway, ooh, that went south quick. 2 black and 2 blue. This is a 4 mana 4/4 Gearhulk. Now we're talking. Lifelink, Ward 1. Ward 1? Well, whatever. I guess something's better than nothing. When this creature enters, look at player's hand. You may choose a card from it. If you do, that player discards that card, then draws. Okay, so it's a click with more cake on its butt, I guess. And lifelink doesn't fly because it's got so much cake. Anyway, it's gonna be great for standard. Past that, it'd probably be iffy, but this is going to be good for standard. Next, we have Kolodin, Triumphant Caster. It's just, I had a Transformers flashback. Anyway, white and red for a 2/3. Mounts and vehicles you control have haste. Not bad. Whenever a mount you control enters, it becomes saddled till end of turn. I mean, okay. I mean, it's going to have haste, plus it's automatically saddled. That's going to be huge. When a vehicle you control enters, it becomes an artifact creature at the end of turn. Holy shit. Yeah, you lay this on turn 2, then lay that 5/5 for 3 mana artifact or 4/4 or whatever. Shit's going to get real because it's going to come in fast. I see this being a deck. Next, we have the Cloudspire Sky Cycle. Jesus, what a name. White, red, and 2 for a 2/3 flying. When the vehicle enters, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 other target vehicles and or creatures you control. Oh, so you can't target itself? That sucks. That limited at best. Alright, so now we have a couple artifacts. We have real artifacts like single color. Anyway, starting column. 3 colorless. It has start your engines. Add 1 mana of any color. When you get to max speed, you can sacrifice it by just tapping it and drawing 2 cards, then discard a card. I mean, good for limited, but it might be as far as this thing goes. It's not good enough. I don't think this is no way. It's a good enough mana rock for commander. It's just not happening. Next, we have the Valor's Flagship. Oh, here we go. 3 white and 4s for a 7/7 flying first strike lifelink. Cruise for 3. Okay. It has cycling. Oh, this is legendary, by the way. White 2 and X. When you cycle this card, create X/1/1 colorless pilot creature tokens with this token saddles, mounts, and cruise vehicles as though it were 2 greater. Okay, so if you manage to get this on the battlefield, you can cycle another one and then crew this bad boy up and rock house. Or you can just put it in your graveyard and grease fang it out and just destroy somebody by cycling it into your graveyard over and over and getting it out with grease fang. Did I mention everybody should be behind a grease fang by now? Anyway. Air response unit. White and 2 for a 3/3. It's flying, vigilance, cruise for 1. So this is just like probably the best white creature in limited. I mean, Jesus. We have Hull Drifter. Sounds familiar. 2 blue and 3 for a 3/2. When it enters, you draw 2 cards. It cruises for 3 and it flies. Almost good. Too bad you can't, evoke it in or something. You gotta get it the honest way. Pay for it. All right, next we have Repurposing Bay. I like the sound of that. Blue and 2, artifact. 2 colorless, tap, sacrifice another artifact. Not this one. Search your library for an artifact card, mana value equal to 1+ the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle. Only do as a sorcery. Artifact Birthing Pod? Sounds spicy. We have the Draconaut's Engineer. He's just got a rocket strapped to his head. Anyway. Red and 1 for this 2/2 goblin. It exhausts for 1 red. Other creatures you control gain haste until the end of turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. That's cool. It exhausts for red and 3. Make a 4/4 red dinosaur dragon creature token with flying. Wow, this is just going to be in every red deck. I mean, if you don't get the 4 mana, who cares? This thing it starts at 2. And if you don't draw your 3rd land, it's fine. You just make it a 3/3 for 1 more mana. Holy cow, is this good? Not even legendary. We have the Elvish Refueler. This ought to be funny. Green and 2 for a 2/3. During your turn, as long as you haven't activated Exhaust ability this turn, you may activate Exhaust abilities as though they haven't been activated. Holy shit, this is uncommon. Green and 1, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Holy cow. Could you imagine just doing this for 1 red over and over and over and over, or making a dragon over and over and over? Commander players, buy these in foil before it's too late. This is going to be pricey. Mock my words. Anyway. Hazarat, Godseeker. They mentioned to be a god coming in. Red and 1 for a 5/3. Oh, that's fair. That just crews everything. Anyway, has indestructible and haste, but also has start your engine. So it can't attack or block unless you have max speed, which means you're going to have to damage your opponent before you can swing with it. But again, this will just crew anything on the battlefield, and that's probably really what this is for. For 1 and tapping it, target creature power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn, so you can, get the max speed. This will be part of every red deck. Right next to this guy. All right, moving on. Next, we have the Prowl Catcher Specialist. What the hell? Red and 1 Goblin Warrior. 2/1 with haste. That's great for an uncommon. Exhaust, red and 3. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature. I mean, that's great for limited. That's okay. I'm down. Streaking Oil Gorger. This was not the picture I imagined when I read that. Anyway, black and 4 for a 3/3 flying haste with start your engines at max speed. It has lifelink. Yeah, that's the only thing limited play at best. Next we have Aganoris Rex. What the hell? 2 green and 3 for an 8/8. That seems fair. Oh my god, with trample. Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway, it cycles for a green and 2. When you cycle this card, put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature or vehicle. It gains trample and indestructible at the end of turn. There's no drawbacks. No drawbacks. Just a 5 mana 8/8 trampler to just make you hate life. Jesus. This is a bit extreme. Moving on. We have Quag Feast, black and 1. Choose target creature, planeswalker, or vehicle. Mill 2 cards, then destroy the chosen permanent if the mana value is less than or equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. Creature, planeswalker, or vehicle. I mean, it seems fine, but honestly, I can see how this could be played, but to be fair, this seems like the most awful rare ever. Because what if it's something really big, like this thing, and you can't get 5 cards in your graveyard? Yes, I know, you'll get 2 from this. You only got to put 3 more in there. If you put 3 cards in your graveyard because you're blocking this thing, you're already dead. Maybe this is good. I'm going to hold my opinion until I see how the format shapes up. All right, we have Sabsunin Luaxa Embodied. God, Lord, these names. Blue, green, and 3. 5 mana, 6/6. That's so much better than a 5 mana, 8/8. Jesus. Reach, trample, indestructible. Never mind, it's worse. It can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. 0 is even. Oh, that's fantastic. The beginning of your first main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on spin. Then, if it has an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. Good God, it's either kicking you in the crotch or kicking you in the crotch by letting your opponent draw 2 cards. Holy cow. This is probably a commander by every stretch of the imagination. I think this is going to see play, or at least be attempted to see play. Light Shield Parry, 1 white, target creature is +2/+2 to end a turn, cycles for 2. Like this card a lot. Mainly because it cycles, but also because it can actually be used pseudo removal. So, yeah, like it. Like it. Midnight Mangler, this is a good pick. I like this. Blue and 1 for a 3/3. During turns other than yours, this vehicle is an artifact creature. It crews for 2. I like this a lot. Free blocking. Crew it, swing in. It's a creature after that. Doesn't matter, it's tapped. But if you can't crew it, at least can block for you. We have Venom Sack Lagak. These names. Green and 1 for a 2/1 with Death Touch. Whenever the creature attacks while saddled, it gets +0/+3 till the end of turn. Saddles for 2. So it could be a 2/4 Death Toucher, making it hard to kill. But 2 mana for a 2/1 Death Toucher. I mean, I'm all here for that. It's basically removal with legs. Next, we have some special guest cards. That's right. Chrome Mox gets a reprint. You don't know what this thing does. For 0, when this artifact enters, you exile a non-artifact, non-land card from your hand. You add 1 mana of the exile card's color. And we get a reprint of Lord of the Dead. I like this art. This, not so much. I would like this art better if it was poster style. But just like too much of it for me is covered up. But still, Lord of the Dead. Everybody loves the good Lord, right? Zombies get +1/+1 for a black and 1. You get zombies from the graveyard, put them in your hand. Good. And finally, we will wrap it up with some of the stuff from the commander decks. We have the 2 main cards from each commander deck. We have the energy deck, which is Shahili, red, blue, and green. So Shahili's supposed to be the commander. Red, blue, green, and 1 for a 4/4. Whenever you cast an artificer or artifact spell, you get an energy. Good Jesus, that's not busted at all. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 3 energy. When you do, create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control, except that it's a 5/5 artifact creature. Jesus. In addition to other types, and has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. I'm going to copy my Panharmonicon so that I can go bonkers. And then punch you in the face with it. Anyway. Pia Nalar is also in here. Chief Mechanic. Red, blue, and green. 3 mana, 2/4. Whenever 1 or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you get energy. Beginning of your end step, you may pay 1 or more energy. If you do, create a XX colorless vehicle artifact token named Nalar Aetherjet with flying and crew 2, where X is the amount of mana you spent. Interesting. We'll have to see how good that is. In teamer colors, it might be a bit of a struggle, but whatever. Moving on, we have Ashaton's Scarab's Fist, and no, this is not the commander. This guy is. But for a black and a white, this commander, pseudo-commander, for 1 and 3, is a 1/3, excuse me. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay a blue and 2. If you do, create a token. A tapped token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie, basically exhuming the cards. Now, for the actual commander, who looks like a mummy but is actually not, we have Timet, Nakatuma's Will, names, black, blue, and white, and 2, 5 mana, 4/4, has Vigilance and Menace. It's a zombie wizard, because why wouldn't it be? Whenever you attack, you draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you draw a card, zombies you control get +1/+1 till the end of turn. Now I want you to say that with me. Whenever you draw a card, zombies you control get +1/+1 to the end of turn. Now, I know there's not going to be a lot of cool blue draw spells in here. However, you can put things in here that are cool blue draw spells, like Treasure Cruise, Brainstorm. Take your pick. Like, those are the easy ones. And also, because you draw attack, you can play play 2 to my boo. You can play a blue and 2 to start making 4/4 black zombie dudes to give the juice to. This is seems good. Now, I think the energy deck will be better only if you change it and put the broken energy cards from the first couple sets in it. But probably out of the box, this is probably going to be your boy, because he's bringing it. So, anyway, there you have it, guys. I know it's a long one, but hey, they spoiled 50-some-odd cards today. I don't know what you want from me. So, with that said, I will see you tomorrow at the end of the day for all the new spoilers. And, boy, hey, I don't know if I want them to get better or not, because these are pretty outlandish. I'm just going to be honest with you. So, anyway, till next time, be kind. And, as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. You can already feel a disturbance in the forest and standard.